When my father was a few months younger than I am now, he tried to throw my mother a surprise party. She was turning 30, and although she was never the sort of person who cared about that sort of thing, 30 is kind of a big deal. It signals a farewell to a specific kind of identity, and as my father did care about it, he wanted to do something memorable. He invited dozens of people and ordered 10 cheesecakes, my mom's favorite dessert. The guests would bring food potluck style, and my mother would have a spectacular birthday. But in March of 1987, a terrible flu spread through the city. The morning of the party, he collected the cakes, and calls started coming in. All but 3 guests had started puking and could not come. My dad canceled the party, and we celebrated Mom's birthday quietly, packing as much cheesecake as we could into the freezer and living off the rest for weeks. I was oblivious to these events. I was 3 years old, and my memory of Mom's 30th birthday is that my parents smiled a lot. My sisters and I got My Little Ponies, and the house was unusually clean. Now I understand my parents, why my father would have wanted so badly to do something special, why my mother would buy her children's presents for her birthday. I understand how helpless my father felt to make one day, any day, about her. I understand how much the gesture meant to my mother. On the eve of my 30th birthday, I think about this. I think about my father as he was then, thickening around the middle in faded jeans and subversive t-shirts. I can see his wide smile, his deep dimples, his bright eyes. I can picture him at my age as clearly as I can picture him now. From my memories, I can put them together like a puzzle. These aren't images from photographs. These are flesh and blood imprints he made in my mind. But not my mother. No matter how I rack my brain, I can't see her as she was when she turned 30 years old. I can see her hands, rolling cookie dough into balls, dropping them gracefully onto a pan. I can see her ring clear as day, and her fingernails and her wrists. I can see her jeans as she walks down the sidewalk, her shirt hiding her pocket as she pulls out $1 for the ice cream truck. I can see her bare legs crossed in front of her on the porch, her ankles with a train of ants walking across them. I can see her silhouette in the living room, casually warning me to stop trying to somersault down the stairs. I can see the barrette in the back of her hair as she sits at the table after dinner, but not her face. I can't assemble the pieces. My mother is an invisible force of nature, a supernatural entity made of love and discipline and constant presence. I studied my father when I was a child, this person I loved who lived with me but whose comings and goings from the mysterious work carried the weight of disappearances and reinvention. I never had to look at my mother. I always knew she was there. If I shouted, she would appear. If I misbehaved, she would scold me. If I was scared or hurt or sad for any reason, I could run to her and wrap my arms around her legs, and her elegant hands with their narrow wrists would run through my hair, and her voice would echo from the everywhere of motherhood. I can hear her voice, but I can't distinguish the words. It's a hum that fills the universe, that permeates every fiber in existence, rumbles through my bones, and soothes them. I can hear its cadence, but my mother was invisible to me. And now, I am her. Like my father, birthdays matter to me. And like my father, I feel helpless to give them some kind of meaning. I feel for him so much, this 29-year-old father of 3, but to me, my mother will always be a mystery. No matter how closely my family parallels hers, no matter how similar the struggles and joys and mundane details of our daily lives, I will never be able to sympathize with her life the way I do my father's. To me, she is beyond understanding. In a way, This makes me feel close to every mother who has been a shadow, an omnipresent force in their children's lives. To every parent whose children don't look at them when they come or go. It makes me feel close to them, and at the same time fills me with grief so deep I can hardly name it. When my daughters, who once stared forever at me unblinking, swaddled in my arms, run past without a glance, when I tell them to brush their teeth, I feel it. I have become this vibration, this mysterious force. In my own ethereal, faceless way, I will be erased from their memories, continuously replaced by the constantly changing, endlessly aging face before them. I can only see my mother as she is now. Maybe a little less gray, maybe somewhat thinner, but still, familiar glasses, familiar lines on her face, not the slender, beautiful, black-haired girl I know she was. That young woman, she is somebody I will never know. I feel the grief that I have already lost part of my mother forever. Maybe turning 30 doesn't bother me. Maybe it's the fear that I'm already gone, replaced by this ghost whose voice will soothe my children's memories long after I've died. And while I mourn this former me, I'm filled with guilt and joy so great it brings me to tears. I have always wanted to be this thing, immortal and benevolent and profoundly loved. Loved until I dissolved into the enormity of the word, until it absorbed me and replaced me with the all-powerful phantom caring for every child, every person with a fierceness so raw and so bold and yet so constant they disappeared into it. I have always wanted to be Mom.